The Green Bay Packers will host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Championship Game on Sunday. Chris Lovitt and I will give our prediction. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more NFL videos. So in the NFC Championship Game, we're going to have the Green Bay Packers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And obviously it's going to be the second matchup of the two teams this season after the Bucs beat the Packers already 38-10. And in that game, like Rodgers probably had maybe one of his worst performances of the year, where he only had 160 passing yards with 2 interceptions and not a single touchdown. So I think that's certainly still maybe on the back of everyone's mind. Like all the Packers players might think about that maybe and want kind of revenge for that loss. And the Bucs must feel pretty confident about the way, especially the Bucs defense, the way that they handled that matchup. Obviously, the big difference is also going to be that this time the game's going to be at Lambeau Field in probably freezing conditions.
Yeah, I think the first game was definitely Rodgers' worst performance of the season, and pretty much his only bad game that he's played so far. Obviously, it was a very surprising game, and I definitely didn't see it going that way the first time, and I probably can't see it going that way again. But yeah, obviously this time with it being in Lambeau in January, the forecast looking quite bad or quite good depending on which way you look at it. But yeah, it's almost guaranteed to snow, and it's going to be freezing cold there, which I think will probably will play quite a big role. Obviously, Brady's used to playing in cold conditions, having done it in New England for over 20 years. But yeah, I think there'll be some players maybe who aren't so adapted to it, and there's coaches who maybe don't have as much experience with play calling in these conditions and having to limit the playbook to what it is that you can do. But yeah, this is a great matchup of two legendary quarterbacks, and the first time they're playing each other in the playoffs. Which is crazy when you think about it. They've been two of the top quarterbacks in the whole NFL for the past 20 years almost, and this is the first time we see them meet in the postseason.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, and like you said before, the conditions will play a massive role in it, and which leads me to believe that just the two running games will be very busy. But which is a good thing for the Bucs, kind of to see like Leonard Fournette has really come on strong these past few weeks. They always really riding him, and he had a great performance against the Saints. And then if you have like almost Ronald Jones as kind of the change of pace guy that can come in on third downs, and obviously with the Packers, like Aaron Jones has been just very consistent and stellar. Green Bay ran for 188 yards against the Rams, so they're certainly well equipped to handle the adverse conditions and just focusing on the running game.
Yeah, I would agree that this game probably is going to come down to both run games. The Buccaneers were fantastic at stopping the run against New Orleans, but I think most of that was down to the fact that Drew Brees obviously couldn't really throw the ball down the field, so they were able to really crowd the line of scrimmage and really plug any holes in the run game. But I think with this game especially, and we kind of got a glimpse of Green Bay playing in these conditions earlier in the season when they played Tennessee. And to be honest, they didn't really look like they missed a beat. They're obviously very comfortable doing this. They were still throwing the ball down the field, still taking deep shots and stuff that you probably wouldn't expect in these conditions. But the Packers are obviously extremely comfortable there. So I would say even if the run game isn't working too much for the Packers, they do still have the ability to throw the ball. Because the Bucs were the best team against the run this year, so it's you would assume that the strength of the Bucs would take away that run game, so Packers would just fall back onto their own strength, which of course is Rodgers throwing the ball.
Yeah, definitely. And you have with Devontae Adams, obviously Adams and Rodgers, that combination is just lethal. But I was very impressed with the Bucs secondary as well against the Saints. I mean, they forced 3 interceptions and held the Saints like with under 300 yards in total offense. So they've certainly shown up in this postseason, or especially in the last game against the Saints. But obviously, you don't know how much of it was just the Bucs secondary, how much of it was just Brees' inability to kind of throw the deep ball. But still, both defenses are quite good so far. This has been quite impressive so far this in this playoffs. In Green Bay in total, they haven't allowed more than 20 points since week 14 against the Detroit Lions. So they're certainly ready, seem ready as well. And they have a great secondary with Jair Alexander and Darnell Savage Jr. So I think this could be won in just like the secondaries, like whichever secondary can hold the star receivers of the other team, if that's either Brown, Evans, or like on the Packers side at Adams, that's just could decide the game, I think.
I think that the Buccaneers secondary definitely has their work cut out for them, and even more so if they can't get any pressure on Aaron Rodgers. The the Packers played the Rams in the game before this last week, and we know the Rams have one of the best front sevens in the NFL. Obviously, Donald was a bit injured, so he wasn't 100%. But the Rams didn't even touch Rodgers the whole game. He wasn't sacked. He wasn't knocked down. He was barely hurried. He could just kind of stand there and pick the defense apart. And that's definitely what's going to happen unless the Buccaneers can get pressure on Rodgers as well. So I think that Buccaneers front seven against the Packers offensive line is going to be a key matchup as well. Because no matter how well your secondary is playing, if you give Aaron Rodgers 4 or 5 seconds consistently, he's going to put up quite a few points, I think.
Yeah, and his mobility is definitely where the Packers are going to have an edge if you compare to Tom Brady, because Aaron Rodgers is still able to scramble and get quite a few yards on the ground. So even if he's pressured, he can just roll out of the pocket and still deliver an accurate deep ball. And Tom Brady's more kind of, he's just going to try probably to get the ball out as quickly as possible, because the Packers front, they are also like very much improved. And if they give Brady very little time, then you can see him struggling, because you could see that against the Saints as well. It wasn't like Brady was just lighting it up and had that many yards. You could see whenever he was under pressure, he was throwing the ball away or was inaccurate with his throws. So I think that's going to be a key too. And overall, I think it's just the Packers are going to have too much firepower, and especially Aaron Rodgers. He's just playing on another level, on another planet almost. He's like the surefire MVP for me, and I think he's just too hot to handle at the moment. So I would definitely say the Packers will win that by like 7 points.
I have the Packers winning as well, and probably by a similar margin. Maybe 7, 7 points, something like that. But what Rodgers has just seen, he's just seen a legendary quarterback in the NFL, who's retired with only one ring in Drew Brees. And the kind of narrative going around is, were New Orleans, did they underachieve at all? And that's, I think, is just going to be extra motivation for Rodgers to not have those sorts of narratives around when he retires. So yeah, I would give the edge to the Packers anyway. I think the conditions suit them. I think their style of play suits them. And yeah, I've got about a 6 or 7 point win to Green Bay as well.